So I was contacted from a company that wanted me to check out one of their reels. It's a Chinese company. After doing a little research on it, I decided to go ahead and do a little review for them. Today we're going to be looking at the Goture Ares Max. So I just want to start this video out by saying I'm not affiliated with these companies. They just find me on YouTube and they want to send me their reels, and I've had some good experience with Chinese reels and I've had some not so good experiences with Chinese reels. But I always want to give them a shot, just because I do know even in the more expensive reels, a lot of the parts are interchangeable, and you see a lot of the same exact stuff in a cheap Chinese reel as you do in a higher end reel. There's not that much to them, but I can say there are differences in how they're put together. And I believe this company has really done well with putting together something that looks like it's going to last a long time, and it just works great as it should. All the components work, they work together well. Let's take a quick look at the box that it comes in. So I already have the reel paired up on a rod. We'll get to that in just a second. I've been using this reel for the past couple of weeks. Let's just take a look at the box real quick. It's Goture.com. It's the Ares Max model. Catch your rates and enjoyment. These boxes always tend to have some funky words on them. You know, I don't know, catch your rates. I guess that means get a good deal and enjoy fishing, whatever. No biggie. Let's look at some of the specs. ADC material corrosion proof metal frame. This is an all metal frame reel. 10+1 shielded stainless steel bearings. A6061 T6 aluminum alloy CNC machine spool. It has a big spool, super colossal line capacity. That is absolutely true. I'll get into that here in a minute. Super strength brass alloy main gear and pioneer gear. Okay, pretty standard. 5-group drag system with carbon drag washers. 6-section 20-disc carbon fiber magnetic brake system. Easy adjustable star drag brake, quick access side cover, and it is saltwater approved. The gear ratio on this reel is 6:3:1. There's a left-handed version of this reel, and there's versions without cork handles, I assume, which may be a little bit cheaper, but if you're gonna get this reel, get the one with cork handles. It feels absolutely amazing. Okay, what's in the box? You get a nice felt bag that has the Goture logo on it. They send some rod wrap bundles with the Goture logo on them, Velcro. I'm not really sure what you use those for, but they send them to you anyway. And of course, a parts breakdown list of everything and your part numbers. So that's all you get in the box bag, rod wraps, and your parts list. Let's take a look at the reel. Okay, here is the reel. Actually, I'm going to take this reel off this beautiful custom rod. This, as you can see, it has the custom holes in the cork. This is a 7'13" bantamweight. Custom guides. You can see there, custom epoxy guides. And new for 2018, it also has the 360 tip guide, so you can rotate 360 degrees to attack fish from all angles. One thing you're going to notice about this reel right out of the box is its size. Now, I have huge hands, and this reel actually feels great in my hands. Could be a little big to handle for some of you lesser men, but this reel is a solid aluminum body, so it does have some weight. But like they said on the box, it has a super colossal line capacity, bigger spool, and it does. It has a humongous spool. As you can see, I have braid on here. I think this is 50-pound braid that I had on a Daiwa Laguna reel, and that Daiwa Laguna was filled to the max. And as you can see here, I still got another 1/4 inch to go. I mean, this thing could hold a lot of line. I think this reel is more marketed toward somebody fishing saltwater. Not that you can't use it in freshwater, but I do believe it makes for a great saltwater reel. You wouldn't get spooled on a big fish. You got lots of line. You can put bigger line on here, and this all aluminum frame just really feels like it's going to hold up against the salt water. So anyway, let's look at some key components of it. One of the first things I noticed about this reel is how smooth it is. And not just, you know, the bearings, everything is smooth. Look at these Cork handles. These are nice Cork handles, and look at that. Look how smooth that is. Now I know that's not that big of a deal, but you can take some, I've had really expensive reels, and you take the knob here and you go to spin it, and then it stops like almost instantly. And it's like, okay, that's not cool. I mean, everything plays a part in making the reel feel, you know, nice in the hand and performing well and nice and smooth and easy. And the bearing that they use for this right here is great. And the feel of this Cork is probably, I've honestly never owned a Cork handled reel. I've always picked them up like the ones on the 13 Fishing, and have really thought about, you know, getting something like that, because it just feels so great in the hand. That Cork, good nice grip, very smooth feeling. So for a Chinese reel to come with these Cork grips, I'm pretty impressed. So let's move on to the drag. One thing I've noticed with a lot of these Chinese reels, when it comes to the drag, they just don't get it right. They market all these drag washers, like carbon fiber drag washers, and there'll be 3 of them, 3 or 4, whatever, you know. But what I found out after breaking some of these reels apart is that they're not greasing them, and they always seem sticky. This reel right out of the box is smooth. Now I'm gonna put my thumb on the spool and lock it and turn it. And I got it down pretty tight, and you see there's no jumping. When they don't grease those washers, what'll happen, you'll go to turn it and it'll do this number right here. You want a smooth drag like this. You don't want a drag that jumps. You got a drag that jumps, something's wrong, or it's not properly greased. And what that's going to do on the water is you're going to end up losing fish, depending on what you're using this reel for, what technique. You know, if you're cranking and you need that fish to kind of run with it or something, you know, you don't want no sticky drag. And then, I mean, that's common sense on all reels. You want a smooth operating drag on any reel that you throw. Pretty standard stuff here. You got a 5-star audible clicking drag. Again, it works very nice from the low range up to the high range. It cranks down. I think the drag is rated at 22 pounds. And let's just talk about, since I was talking about the spool earlier, this spool has a line capacity of 210 yards on 10-pound line, 180 yards at 13-pound, and 16-pound line you can put 130 yards. Anyway, a 22-pound drag is going to pretty much winch any freshwater fish you want. Saltwater could be a different story. I don't know if you'd want a 22-pound drag for saltwater or not. I'm not a saltwater guy, but I would assume at a 22-pound drag you could pretty much get any fish you wanted to with 22 pounds of drag. Another thing I've noticed with Chinese reels is the side plate and the magnetic mechanism kind of being sticky. Like you rotate your adjustment, and sometimes the magnets will only move. Let's say it has a setting from 0 to 10, the magnets will only move from, say, settings 4 to 10. You know, 0 through 3.5 or whatever is useless. It's not the case with this reel. You push in the tab at the bottom. Let me do it with this hand. Rotate it down, pop it out, and as you can see, you got, what, 5 magnets there? So that's pretty standard. So here on the side plate, hopefully you guys can make that out, the sun straight overhead. It has settings 0 through 5. They're labeled, and you got 3 clicks in between each one, so basically you got 15 different settings there. So not bad at all. I guess I will mention this is a polycarbonate side plate. This is an all aluminum frame, but this side plate is polycarbonate. This side is not. This is all metal. Let me pop this back off again and let me show you something. Look at the size of this spool. And you get a spool bearing here, which is nice. I like that. It's pretty standard. Some reels you won't have the spool bearing on this side. To me, I think it just balances things out when you have a bearing here and you have the other bearing on the side plate. Another thing too, you'll notice sometimes when you take your spool out and you spin the reel, you see your little gear inside there turning, it'll wobble like crazy. It doesn't get aligned until you put this spool in. On some reels, this one, as you can see, everything is in place where it's supposed to be. So what does that translate to? That just means it's going to last you a longer time. You know, when things, you have to put pieces together to make everything line up. That just kind of tells you, hey, that's not designed in the best way. It's not engineered really to last. It's engineered cheap to be cost effective, basically. Not to say that reels that do that aren't going to last, but from my experience, reels that tend to do that, that's something I kind of look for. They last me about a year. And I fish a lot, but yeah, that is not good in my opinion. So anyway, I'm going to pop the spool back in. Okay, let's look at the spool tension knob. It does not have an audible click, but that's really no big deal. It works as it should, pretty self-explanatory. And one other thing is this thumb bar. Again, big hands. This is a nice wide spool. I got plenty of room to put my thumb. And they built a spool disengage button that feels sturdy. It actually has a nice click to it. It sounds good. It feels like, hey, when you click it down, it's ready to cast. It's not gonna pop back up on you or something when you're casting and cause you to sling your lure, 30 yards in the water. It actually feels really good. Again, guys, I've only had this reel for a couple of weeks, but right out of the box, everything works. The only downside is the weight. This is a very heavy reel. Like when I have it matched on my 713 bantamweight, it's a heavy setup. That's pretty much the reel in a nutshell. Again, we'll see how long this thing lasts. I will be doing a follow-up video on it to see how long it does last me. This thing right now feels like it would last a lifetime. I mean, it's so heavy, it's metal, it's smooth. I mean, how are you gonna break it? I don't know. Here's where it gets a little scary. It's $89.99 on Amazon.com, which is a lot of money to spend for a Chinese reel. But you have to take in consideration how it's built, the quality components that they made it out of, and then compare it to something else that you've considered for the salt. Again, I don't do that much saltwater fishing, but when I do go, I will be using this reel to test it, see how it holds up against the corrosion and just, catching bigger fish, and just see how it holds up. I mean, I'm going to put it through its paces in the freshwater, but I think, again, this reel is more suitable for a saltwater fisherman. So if you're looking for a heavy-duty reel with a good, solid frame that holds a ton of line, that is extremely smooth, I mean, butter smooth, with nice cork grip handles, this could be the reel for you. At 89 bucks, if it lasts and it holds up, it gives you a couple years of use, I think it's $89 well spent. But this is just my thoughts on it, guys. Again, haven't had it long. We'll see what it does, but right out of the box, I'm really impressed, and I must say probably this is the most impressive reel from China that I have received right out of the box. It is everything seems to work. There's nothing that you need to take apart to, grease, drag washers, or oil. Everything seems like it should, and you're paying for it. 89 bucks ain't cheap. It should be working right out of the box, because there's a lot of other reel manufacturers that make a reel like Lou's in the $100 range that's going to be awesome. So why are you wanting to spend $90 on a Chinese reel? Well, that's just something you'll have to check out for yourself, because I think if you guys see this reel in person and feel it and see how it feels, you're really, really going to be impressed. So that's the Goture Ares Max. Let's head over here to the end of the dock and just cast it a couple times, throw some top water, see if we can catch some fish in the middle of the day on top water. Don't have very high expectations, but hey, it's fishing. That's like my favoriteest thing in the world to do, is to put line through your guides and then drop the line and it slides all the way back out of all of them. I just love it when that happens. And then when you drop the rod too, it's perfect. Oh, and then I just lost my 360. Just lost my 360 tip. Well, this is the bantamweight, so it can take a punch. We'll just go with this. Not all poppers are created equal. That felt kind of weird. Not because of the reel, because of my rod. Y'all are probably thinking, well, he's not a saltwater guy, but he sure has a saltwater pattern popper. Butter smooth reel. It really is, guys. This isn't something I'm trying to sell you on. If you want to check it out for yourself, I'll have a link in the description to Amazon. It has a detailed description of what this reel is about. I think I covered pretty much everything, but if you want to see a closer up picture or whatever, check it out. I'm not saying buy it. I'm still using this reel to put it through its paces, but I can say that the Chinese are getting closer and closer and closer to reels that they can compete with the big name brands like Daiwa and Luz and Shimano, and pretty exciting. It's nice to have good fishing gear, and it's also very nice not to give an arm and a leg for your equipment. I think I pretty much ruined this spot. Yep, kind of like I figured. I do believe for the majority of the people out there, spending $90 on a Chinese reel is pretty scary. And to be honest, would it be something that I would spend $90 on? No, not initially. But now that I've held it in my hand, if it lasts, absolutely. It's worth 90 bucks. It really is, especially if it holds up in the saltwater. As a saltwater fisherman, that would be a no-brainer. So we'll see, time will tell. But guys, thank you so much for checking out this video. I appreciate y'all liking up all the previous videos and leaving your comments. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. Y'all are helping me grow this channel. We're growing together, so I really appreciate it. You guys take care, God bless, happy holidays, have a great Christmas, have a great New Year's, and I'll catch y'all on the next episode. Come on. Let me do one of those, pound it things. Are y'all ready? 3, 2, 1. That kind of hurt.